Okay, what I want to do in this video is talk a little bit about the difference between CPI and GDP deflator. As we talked about, they're both price levels. They're just measurement of prices, just measuring sticks. Both, however, they have different caveats. Like one includes one thing, the other one includes the other. As they have two different approaches. CPI is Consumer Price Index. You're looking at the prices that consumers are buying. Consumers, that's important. GDP is gross domestic product. There are things, it's including products as a whole. It's not including necessarily prices of all goods because some goods aren't necessarily being sold yet. Like, for example, inventory. So, using this knowledge, what's included in CPI in GDP deflator that maybe is not included in the other? Well, with CPI, so CPI does not include, it does include imports, because let's say we're importing some Samsung phones from Japan, and who's buying the Samsung phones in the United States? U.S. consumers, and it's Consumer Price Index, so it would get counted because consumers are buying the imports. However, as we know, as we proved earlier, GDP does not count imports because it does not affect overall GDP. It affects the components of GDP, but they cancel out. If you need to know about that, go watch the video on the measurements and components of GDP. However, GDP includes exports, but exports does not affect the consumers in the United States. For example, if we're using the United States as the example, because we're exporting it out of the United States and we're selling it to, like, let's say the United States is selling cars to Japan. In this case, we're selling the cars to Japanese consumers, so it's only affecting the Japan CPI. It's not affecting the United States CPI. So those are the biggest differences. So let's look here. So it says only made in the U.S. Sriracha sauce is only made abroad. Both are consumed in equal amounts in the U.S. and have weight in the CPI basket. If all else equal, the price of Sriracha sauce rises by 10%, but the price of fry sauce falls by 5%. The CPI will blank while the GDP deflator will blank. So if Sriracha sauce is made abroad, okay? Sriracha sauce is made abroad. That means we are importing Sriracha. While fry sauce is only made in the US. So fry sauce, it's going to get counted in both cases because it's affecting consumption on the GDP and it's affecting CPI. So it'll affect both. So we're definitely including this negative 5% by fry sauce. So it's getting counted in CPI. But does CPI include imports? Yes, it does. Like we said, we've already noted that CPI does include imports. And so as such, so it's increasing by 10% and falling by 5%. So CPI will rise overall. It's a net. So we know it's going to rise. So it's not B or C. What's happening to GDP deflator? Well, GDP deflator does not include imports. It only includes exports. So because it doesn't include imports, we are not including the rise of Sriracha sauce of 10%. We're only including the fall by 5%. And so this is only, so we can't count this, we count this. Sorry, let me back up. If this is, I'm going to make this orange, make this green. So CPI does include this increase and it does include this decrease, while GDP only includes the decrease of fry sauce because it doesn't include imports, and so as such it will drop by 5% as a whole. So GDP deflator will fall, making A the correct answer. Okay, hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, Adam out.